Following the February 27th wildfires, we had a couple of different reviews of our response to those wildfires. And the focus from those reviews was, what went well and what are some things that we can improve upon. For the most part, I think we found that our response worked very well. The fact was that the conditions that existed on that day were of such an extreme nature that we were set up in advance. We had additional units in place. We were doing all the things that we felt we needed to do to be at our maximum readiness. And even with that, the fires just were spreading at such a rapid rate once they got started that it was all we could do to contain the fires as much as we were able to. And especially given the number of fires that occurred on that day, because it literally was started up with a report of a major fire up the Canadian River, then the start of the fire at the Willow Creek or Masilla Park area. Then there was the Canyon Country Club fire that burned 420 acres and forced some evacuations in that area, followed very rapidly by the Lake Tanglewood fire, or Timber Creek Tanglewood Palisades fire. So with that rapid succession of fires, every asset we had available was basically deployed to one of those fires, and required a lot of coordination to bring those things together.
Did we have the resources to fight all those fires all at once?
No, nobody does though. I
Okay.
mean, we basically had every resource we had available deployed to a fire somewhere. And we're calling upon the region to assist us and calling upon the state to assist us. Fact was that the extent and scope of the wildfires and the number of wildfires that occurred just really pushed our capabilities beyond what we had available, which is why we have regional mutual aid plans, state mutual aid plans, and those things in place so that we could call upon additional resources when we reach that critical stage.
At that time, did we have these seats stationed here in Amarillo?
We did, but because of the high winds, their availability to fly out missions was severely restricted, to the fact where really the seats couldn't fly at all. Later in the day, the helicopter, the DPS helicopter, the air attack aircraft, which is more of a coordination aircraft, but at least gives you eyes in the sky.
Yeah.
Those were able to fly, but the seats themselves were not able to fly for most of that day, just simply because the winds were outside of their operational window. So I think talking about lessons learned, that was one in that we knew there was limitations, but when you reach these critical extreme or historically extreme weather conditions, air assets and their availability is severely limited. And it's a safety issue. Those aircraft are just not designed to fly or to take off and land in 60, 70 mile an hour winds. The mandatory evacuation order was used was hurricane evacuations from the coastal region. So we did an exploration of the legal basis of how that could be applied to us here in this region and specifically towards wildfires. And I think what we learned out of that was that we really required a much more formal process and a formal approval from the chief elected official, whether it be the county judge or the mayor. So we were able to better define that and put that in place. And quite honestly, on the May 29th wildfires, when we had the wildfires that threatened the West Cliff area and the Stone Ridge fire, we had those in place and were able to issue those orders much more rapidly. Because we had a better understanding of the difference between mandatory and recommended evacuations.